And with me to discuss this, joining me live via Skype is a public affairs analyst, Alpha Jackden. Now, Mr. Alpha Jackden, what do you make of this new condition by the federal government that, to reopen the border, there has to be some sort of document signed by all concerned countries?
Well, Precious, thank you for having me. Let's, maybe for the paucity of time, look at this issue by trying to compartmentalize it into three themes. I want to look at it from the ECOWAS standpoint, which is all about the freedom of movement of goods and services. I want to look at it also from the continental free trade area before we come back home. As it were, the federal government is telling us that the economy is doing good and we have seen some level of stability. But as a citizen, I don't want to think that is really the case, largely because we've seen a marginal increment in poultry and even the rice production, the sale of rice. At some point 2 weeks ago, we saw almost a 2,000 naira differential in the price of rice. So for the CBN to be saying what it is saying, I tend to not want to fully agree with what the Central Bank of Nigeria is saying.
Okay, you know that Africa only accounts for 13% of Nigeria's exports and only just about 3% or 4% of its import. Doesn't that mean that the market is dispensable?
Well, talking about, I quite didn't hear the last bit of your question, but I'm aware of the fact that, yes, the Nigerian economy has a lot to offer Africa. Indeed, a lot is coming from the Nigerian economy in terms of our greatest strength, as it were, it's not even what we tend to export, it's the human capital. You can just imagine the level of Nigerians that were trained in Nigeria that are working within Africa and other parts of the world. So, taking a cue from that, I want to believe that the economy can actually do well, but there is a lot that we also need to do from the home front. You see, when you have just one port in Lagos, let's not forget that what we're discussing here is largely land borders. The sea borders, I believe, are still open and you can still import through the airports. But as it were, I want to believe that if the Nigerian government really is serious about this issue, they should get places like One, which I understand, due to security reasons, is not performing at optimal capacity. They should get the Calabar ports too working. They should get the other ports within the Delta State too working. I want to believe it will bring a lot of good to the Nigerian economy.
If we can quickly get you in just a few seconds, are you supporting the statement by the federal government or not?
I'm not supporting the statement that the economy is doing well, even after the closure of the land borders that came all too abruptly. I'm not supporting it, no.
All right, political analyst Alpha Jackden, many thanks for sharing your thoughts with us.